Well, everybody, I'm impressed. We have somebody online today on this Veterans Day. Even my walk, I only ran into 2 people this morning. So everybody's schedules are off. So while the crowd builds, let's talk about what today is. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Inbox. And just a reminder, today is Veterans Day. It takes more than courage to risk your life for your country. It takes a heart of a hero. Join us in thanking the brave veterans for all the sacrifices they've made to protect all of us. I can't tell you how many happy Veterans Day and thank you notes I received today, just because they're on automatic emails. So my mortgage company sent me, my mortgage loan officer sent me something, my daughter sent me something, and there's more and more and more and all that stuff. So it's time for you to pause and reflect and say, oh, am I updating all of my automatic email troop campaigns to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing? Because some of these campaigns are set to expire. So just a little note to yourself, check your campaigns and make sure they're still active, because it's nice just to remember. So what did I have to do when I saw this email? I had to think about Jessica, right? Because she sent it to me and I could see she sent it to me. No, I didn't take time to open them all, but I saw Mike Wiles sent me one. He's my loan officer who did my refi. I just saw a bunch of them today. And so I just thought that'd be something to talk about as we start doing that. Chris the Chance, there he is. I'm going to promote him to a panelist. There we go. And now I will make him a co-host. Okay, Chris, you should be able to unmute yourself and turn your camera on.
All right, there I am.
Here he is.
Good morning, everyone.
Happy Veterans Day to you.
You too, you too. Yeah, thanks guys for letting me join. And on a side note, Tiffany is not on the call today. So I'm filling in for her today to represent Paramount Title, but also go through the app featured just in case. So, but anything else I can help with right now?
Just so you know, I gave her crap about that on Tuesday afternoon too. I forgot it was Tuesday.
As you should, So yeah, I completely support it. So go for it. So,
hey, as we build the crowd for a minute or two, let's just take a moment and do a little bragging, right? Because Paramount Title is a very, very good title company, right? We have, I don't know, I think we have 8 full-time employees now, right? Plus we have all the other resources, but more importantly, Paramount Title is a part of the Hillsborough Title family of companies, which is called the Florida Agency Network. So I thought maybe before we jump into the app, so the Florida Agency Network created an app for its customers, which are real estate agents, to make the experience for their consumers better. Now that's something like a Paramount Title could never do that. We're too small. You know, we're only doing 60 or 70 closings a month, which is pretty good compared to most title companies, but it's not big enough to create apps and do things like that. So do you know offhand, like how many closings? I think Paramount, the Hillsborough, the Florida Agency Network of companies, I think you're doing over like 1,000 or 1,200 closings a month.
Yeah, on average, we're, anywhere from in a range of 800 to maybe 1,200 closings per month between all the different title brands, and obviously Paramount Title being one of the larger ones. So there's 10 different title brands underneath the Florida Agency Network. Paramount Title is the second largest one. So just to let you guys know, so it's a big brand underneath, call it FAN. So it's and that's due to you guys. So
if you say there's 12, let's say there's 1,000 closings, and there's 40 different companies in the network, that means the average company is closing 25, and we're closing 50 to 70. So we're doing more than double. So we're a pretty good sized company.
Exactly.
So you're not dealing with a second-rate title company. Is the point I wanted to make.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the good thing, is that obviously, kind of throwing adding to that, the app I'm going to kind of go through, and I think, Craig, I may have gone through this app maybe a year and a half ago with you guys, but it's one of those things that because we have so many different offices and resources, we're able to have, kind of spend the money to have these apps kind of created to where then it gives a better experience for you as the real estate agent, so that you can give a better product to your client. Rather than, look, I get it. Every title company out there has a net sheet. We can go to any website right now that a title company operates and we can get a net sheet. But it's how does that look when you send it to the client? What's the presentation? And it's got to have that wow factor. And that's where we have the benefit of that. And it's an expensive product to maintain per month. But when you break it down, like you said, Craig, when you break it down amongst 30 offices, it's a very small percentage at that point. So it's nice to be able to kind of leverage the size and then get these different tools. So,
well, that's kind of like us. We just took about 70 something people, I think, to Margaritaville for 3 days, and that costs money, but we can split that across. We didn't have 3 top agent events, and we have a lot of offices spread it out over, but most real estate companies couldn't have done something like that. So there's a benefit to size. So just wanted to brag a little bit, show off the guns.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I'm always in support of that. So, yeah, so it's always a cool product. And obviously, we always try to come up with new products and new initiatives. So obviously, how about I do this now? Don't hold me against this. Don't call me tomorrow and yell at me if it's not there. But Sean Pugh and I think you guys all know Sean. She is the regional manager. And so we've been truly pushing on the commission payments. So I know that there's a lot of talk right now. People are doing some type of e-check. So instead of a wire, they're doing an e-check. So our same format that does the EMD delivery. So, and I'll put that against any other EMD delivery on our website.
I will too, 100%. That is so simple and easy.
You can't, and myself, Jay Roberts, he's our IT guy, and also Aaron Davis, we stumbled upon this company that I'm telling you, if anybody on the call finds an easier way to deposit an EMD feature on a website, please let me know. And if you do, I'll buy you lunch.
All you got to know is your routing number and your account number, and you can send up to, I think it's $5,000.
10,000.
Good. That needs to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, $10,000 plus it's only a $9 fee, which is cheaper than a wire. But with that being said, Sean and I have been working on, so the same company that built that, they've actually built a reverse format so that now once the file closes, we'll be able to push the commission check through that same feature back to you. So that is coming. We've been testing it. We are actually going to start testing it next week. Sean and I actually talked about it yesterday, because one of your office is the one that, I know that you guys would love to try this out as well.
We've been trying to find a way. It drives
is coming.
Crazy.
It's coming, and I'm telling you, again, my hope is it's a very easy process for you from a back end standpoint, and we're just going to be able to pump them out to you guys. So no wire, the fee's going to be eliminated. So we're excited. My hope is, if that is the case, we'll talk about that on our next call. So just wanted to tease you guys with that. Again, it's another way that we're trying to come up with a different solution to, instead of just doing a check or a wire, we're going to get you guys a different format of it. So that is coming. I promise you, we're going to be testing it next week. And my hope is before December, we can talk about that in depth. So,
well, just for the record, the back office prefers the payments at closing, because we want you guys to get paid as quick as possible. But a lot of you don't do the payment at closing, which means we've got 3 or 4 different systems going, which is a problem when you're doing 200 closings a month. So that would be fantastic. We'll just put the money right in your checking account at closing. Cool.
And I'm telling you, the database is going to be easy from you guys from accounting standpoint. We put all of this information in the system. Let's say you are the real estate agent on this deal, we would send you a link. You would pop in your personal information if we've never sent you money before, and then we would send it directly to where you told us to send it. In addition to making sure we have the DAs and all that. But it's coming. So I promise it's coming. So we're excited. So as you can tell, I'm excited about it. So it's something a lot of people have asked for, and I'm glad that we can actually do it.
I've been bugging Joy for a long time to find a way to make that happen. But it's not easy.
It's here. It's our hope is in a week, you guys will see it. We'll beta test it with you guys, and we'll get the ball moving on that. So
Got it.
All right. Want me to kick it off?
Yeah, you
Kinda
can
go through the process.
You should be able to share your screen. You're co-hosting with me.
All right. So what I'm going to show you guys, let me make sure. All right. So you should be able to actually, once that way it doesn't look like I'm looking at the wrong screen here. So let me just share another screen. I have a couple of screens here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to share another screen so it looks like I'm looking at you as I'm going through the presentation. All right, there we go. All right, so you guys should be able to see our website. So what we're going to go through, and again, it always updates, so that's why it's usually pretty good for me to go through this app feature for our net sheet feature at least once a year, because they do add additional features to it to make it an easier and better product for you guys to want to use. So that's what I'm going to kind of go through today. Please, if you have any questions throughout, let me know. And then, I'll definitely take each question as they come along. One thing I want to show you is on our website, we do have the different features. So if you don't want to sign up for the app, and that's the big thing, is the NetSheet app is your app. It's your NetSheet program. So if for some reason you're just a person that doesn't want to deal with that, you want to just go to a website, get a quick NetSheet, you're able to do that. Again, this is our website. This is Paramount Title's website. There's a couple of different features that you can use from here. NetSheet calculator, if you look at here, this is where it could either be a quick quote or download the app. If I hit download the app, this is going to tell you all about the NetSheet that we're going to go through today. Again, I'm going to go through the steps as well, but you'll see it shows you how to sign up and all that fun stuff. And then if I do want a quick quote, I can also go here, do a quick quote, and that feature is on here as well. And then I could kind of push it through this. I do need to know the county and or the office that you're associated with, just in case if you're not using a Paramount Title brand. That way it ties the correct fees to it. So again, just wanted to give you the heads up that is there. So,
hey, Chris, talk about the SOC 1 and the SOC 2 credits, because I think that's most title companies don't have that. I talked to Jim Holloway at least weekly, and we just talked the other week, and I asked him again, I said, how frequently are we getting wire transfer fraud attacks? And he said weekly that there's attempts trying to redirect our wired funds, right? So talk about the compliance and how many title companies don't have that.
It's scary out there. And obviously, Craig, my background, I was on the underwriting side for many, many years. So I would hear the stories. I mean, every day somebody's losing money. And the sad thing is in most cases, it's the buyer. The buyer's the one losing money because they're getting hacked, or potentially, say a real estate agent may have been hacked on their email and then they're reverting that wire to somebody else from the buyer side. Most recently, there was another one we heard of about $200,000, somebody's life savings for a transaction. But the SOC 1 and SOC 2, that's something I almost want to say no other title company has in the country. But that's where we have to go through all these audits throughout the year. And every single year we have to re-up for it. But it's going as far as saying, hey, do we have the proper protocols when somebody walks into our office? Hey, do we have the proper protocols if somebody tries to get into our computer? What type of security features do we have on when we go to a website? Can we download something? Can we not download something? You name it, we have it. In a sense, think of it as we have the certification of a bank. But most title companies don't need, title companies don't need that certification. So that's where it is such a huge advantage for us, because our goal is we want to protect your money and your client's money. Because I'm sure if anybody's dealt with this, if somebody loses money, what are they going to do? They're going to start pointing the finger at everybody involved in the transaction. Exactly. You, me, the underwriter, everybody. So we never want to get to that point. A, we don't want to get blamed for it, but B, we don't want somebody to lose their money, let alone if it's $1,000 all the way up to $300,000. So that's where Aaron Davis, he's adamant that if we don't have these compliance, then he doesn't want us to be in business. So that's where he's gone so far over, to where we do protect it. So, but that's where we have those secure portals. We try not to make it a pain for the clients, but in the reality is we want to protect their money. And, we know that hackers are out there every single day. We're getting emails every single day, phishing emails, and I'm sure you guys as well. Just like all they want you to do is click on that link, and then they're in. So it's like we're constantly under attack. And Craig, as you said, I mean, when you have a volume of 1,000 closings a month, I'm sure it's probably at least 10% of those that they're trying to hit on. And luckily, we, knock on wood, we've always been a way to, kind of combat that. And we're still trying to come up with even better ways to inform the buyer, because that's kind of, I don't want to say that's the weak link, but those are the ones that are losing the money.
Well, we need to have that conversation with them too.
Yes.
So just as a reminder, we have to talk about that as a real estate company, but guys, it's happening, it's rampant, it's in there, and you need to say, hey, before you wire money, call the recipient and confirm this number, because the amount of, I forget what it's called, but it's, they hack accounts. And I'll never forget, we had a guy in South Tampa, they stole his email signature, his photograph, everything. And they made a separate email address called c2lbe.com. L and 1 look very similar. It came from our agent at c2lbe.com. And it said, sorry, I sent you the wrong wire information. Please send it here instead. And the customer did it. We were able to catch it. But wow, I mean, that's pretty sneaky. And that's how devious it gets. So as an agent, when you're talking to your buyer, just remind them to double check their wire transfer numbers. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking you off track.
And we always try. No. I love it, because look, there was a scenario that we dealt with this week that we heard that a buyer, we tell them we will never wire you, email the wiring instructions. We stress this, but there was a buyer, and we're trying to revamp our process again. We always want to try to help protect, but we tell them that in the very early on in the transaction. So we're going to come up with a way to tell them that close to closing as well. But the problem was we told the buyer, and then they forgot, that we made that statement. Well, they got an email just before closing. Hey, send your $200,000 here. And the buyer, not thinking about it, sent it. And before they realized it, and it never came through us, it's not like we had any involvement in that. Before they realized the money was gone, it was gone. And the sad thing is now it's like trying to recoup that, which, as soon as that money hits send, it's going in 5 different accounts, all offshore. You're never going to get that money.
And the police can't do anything about it. And the FBI can't do anything about it. And they are just screwed.
Yeah. They're just going to shake their head. Luckily, some of these banks are starting to hold some of the funds for a day or two before they push it out. But again, we've had situations to where the bank won't even release it back, because then they're like, well, whose money is it? They don't want to send it to the wrong person either, regardless if it's the fraudster or not. So it's a very serious thing. Obviously, I know you guys deal with it a lot too, and trying to fight against it as well, but it's only going to get worse as we even go more into this RON, remote. Everybody wants to do it quicker and faster mindset. So we're going to continue to do as much as we can. We're going to come up with different ways. So look for that if you see that, and provide, let us know if you ever see anything from another title company. If they do something, they send out certain videos or announcements or anything, please share that with us. We'd love to know what others are doing, because we'll put, if it's something that makes sense and it helps the buyer protect their money, we'd love to help with that. We'll create the same thing. So, but no, I love that you brought that up. So it's a hot topic, always is. So here's just a quick quote. So just in case, just want to let you know on that. So the website, again, I'm just going to kind of go to it. So I'd encourage, look, if you guys have never seen this before, follow along right now. I have no problem. Grab your cell phone if you have it on your cell phone. Grab your desktop view. This is the desktop view. But the big thing is, so the app, if you've never downloaded it before, it's FANAgent 1. 1 is spelled out. That's how you can find it on the App Store. Or you could go to the website, which is FANagentapp.com. So either or, I'm going to go along in the app or on this desktop view, and you'll see it's very similar view. One thing I'd always, and this is one thing I always kind of joke with everybody, they update this app constantly. So when they do, you always have to update it. So on your cell phone, always make sure to update it or have the updates going, because there's always changes going to it. But what I'd recommend is never download this to your Windows. The reason why I say that is, and I know it's right here smack in your face, I've always tried to ask the developer to change this. They've always fought me on it, which I'm okay with that for now. But when you download this to your computer, it's hard for you to get the updates. So then you don't have the most up-to-date version. I save this as my favorite. I literally go here every single day and I just go to the website and I log in from the top here. So, and I think I see a question. Oh, yep, just seeing the.
But Mike just saying that he gets phishing emails every day, and it looks like Wells Fargo, it looks like Chase Bank. It's just look at the sender's email address. I mean, you got to be looking pretty closely to c2lbe.com. But if it's not from chase.com and it's some other weird name, chances are it's not Chase sending it to you.
Yeah, and as I'm logging into the site right now, we do have a wire department, and we have 2 or 3 employees that sit there at all times, and they know what the different wiring instructions and payoffs look like for the different companies, the big ones, Wells Fargo, Chase, and all that. So look at that as well as a benefit of being with Paramount Title, because we have people that are monitoring. That's their only job. So they're trying to catch everything before, so with all these fake payoffs out there and wiring instructions, we're trying to scrub those to make sure that we never have that issue. But no, that's a great example. Yeah, they're trying to copy them as best they can, and a lot of them look very legit. So this is the app. Again, this is for the net sheet. There has been quite a few changes since I did this last training with you guys. You'll notice that if you are on your app on your cell phone, you'll notice this is the view you have, but these little tabs at the top, they're going to be at the bottom of on the app on your phone. Keep in mind, most of the features are very similar. The one difference you're going to always notice is that on the website, it is always up to date instantly, especially if you went through the feature I just went through. So if they literally just did an update, it's on the website. If they do it on the app, because we have to go through Apple and Android, sometimes it takes a couple of weeks to catch up. So you may see something on the website that you don't see on the app, but that's why. So I'll kind of go through these tabs fairly quick. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. One thing I do want to throw out here is there is a premium package. Now, there's a charge for the premium feature, and I'm going to pull up a PDF as that's loaded. So we have to stay in compliance, and we can only go so far as to what we can offer, and then pretty much call it the title insurance police. They say you can't do it, it's a RESPA violation. So within the app, there's a free version, and I just kind of want to pull this up for you guys just so you can see this. There's a free version. So you don't need to upgrade. You don't need the premium version if you don't want it. Again, if you just want it for a net sheet calculator, buyer estimate, that's all in this left-hand column. So you have all these features. As I'm scrolling through, you have all that feature. Now the premium feature, because it's an upgraded feature, the state said we had to charge for it. So we were able to get them to accept the charge of 99 cents per month or $9.99 per year. It's all charged through the App Store. So it's not like you're going to get an invoice from me for 99 cents a month. It sounds like an accounting nightmare, but it's all pushed through the App Store, and that's what it's for. When you do the premium feature, it is so you can add your headshot, your company logo, and then you have a couple of other fun little marketing materials that then you can use. You have lenses you can put on social media and so forth and so on. So again, I just want to show you this PDF just so you see what I'm talking about.
I think just
when I click on
for clarity too, it's illegal under the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act to offer inducements to receive business. We can't give you a $25. We can't invite you to the Rays game. We can't do. It's illegal, right? So that's what he's talking about with having the upgraded app versus the other one, because you have to make it available to everyone, or else it's an inducement to do business and you get busted for it. So. And once again, we're compliant with all those rules. So
that's true. And this is something they can fairly see fairly quickly. So that's why, especially being online, they would know if we're giving it away for free. So we have to cross the T's and dot the I's everywhere we can. But I'll just scroll through this fairly quickly. Again, if you ever click on the premium and it says you need to upgrade, that's why. But don't feel you need to. But I just want to show you that. But again, it's a lot of fun features. A lot of time, they actually have personalized videos now that then you could push out on social media, that then you could utilize. They stick with the different seasons. Obviously, they have one right now for filters for honor and veterans. So anytime there's a holiday, you then can utilize that and push that on your social media platforms to kind of stay in front of your clients. There's always infographics. And again, these are ones that you can create, customize it to your name and profile, and push it out to the world. So again, that's the reason behind it, to kind of help you on the marketing front, to keep you in front of your clients. Next feature, I'm just going to show you this calculator feature, and then I'm going to dive into the next sheet. The calculator feature, this is going to show you all the calculator features. Now, again, I have access to a few more because I have the premium feature, but you would definitely still have the standard options, the sell to net, the buyer estimate, so forth and so on. I'll go through an example before we end the call. Multiple offers is kind of a fun one I always like to do. And then obviously, if you ever just need a basic, quick title and escrow closing fee, you would have that here as well. And I'll show you that one real quick. If I click on that, it's literally going to ask me what I need, or it's going to tell me what I need to generate that. So let's say I'm doing one for a buyer with financing. I have to put in a sales price. From there, I'm going to put, they're going to put down 10%, and then I'm going to compute. From there, it's just going to pop it up there. Here's my basic fees, and now I can share this with my client. So again, they make it fairly quick for you if that's good with you, but that's kind of like quick and dirty, right down to the basic fees. So that's on those calculator ones. So what I want to do is I want to go through a seller net sheet, kind of show you a couple of those different features within there. We'll briefly look at the buyer's net sheet, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with any questions from there. So on the seller net sheet, and I'll kind of go into depth on the seller one, and then once we get to the buyers, you'll see it's very similar.
Hey, Chris, let me just add really real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just as we have a lot of new agents online as well, title companies all have to charge the same amount for title insurance. It's called a promulgated rate. The only thing we're really allowed to charge different is our closing fee. Because remember, the title insurance is one thing and the closing is another thing, right? We'll never lose a deal over a closing fee, right? So just bring that up. So don't ever think this is set in stone. Now, don't go beating the hell out of us every single closing either, but we don't want to lose a deal ever, right? So we'll always do that if somebody's really nitpicky and something on a discounted price. But title insurance companies across the entire state of Florida have to charge the same amount for the insurance policy. And the closing fees vary from what, 200 to 500, some do 800, some lawyers charge 1,000 or 1,200. So, but a high volume title company, we do it. What's our closing fee? 395?
Yeah, and we'll pop through that real quick too, and I'll show you. And keep in mind, I love that you brought that up too. Amy and Sean, they always look at the fees. Like once a quarter, they try to compare the fees with our competitors. The reason they do that is they want to make sure we are competitive. Like they want to make sure we're in line with everybody else. We never want to be the highest. We never want to be the lowest. We're always going to be kind of middle of the road. So I love that you brought that up, because we do want to always make sure to kind of be in that format. We never want to be the highest. Like you indicated, you'll see some out there and you kind of take a double look, like you're charging what? But again, we always want to talk through those if that ever comes to that point. So
Josiah said, why do they have to charge the same? Because title insurance is regulated by the state of Florida. And it's real simple. It's $5 per thousand for the first 100,000 and $5.50 per thousand for the first 100,000 and $5 per thousand for every thousand after that. And so every title company is charging the same title insurance premium because it's regulated by the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have to then also give it, out of the 100% of the premium, every title agent out there has to give 30% to the underwriter. So that you can never adjust that either. It's not like you can make a special deal with the underwriter. Hey, I'm going to give you less so I can make more. It's all promulgated by the state. So that's where that amount is always very similar as to the charge. So, all right. So and you'll see the charges when I kind of get to this side. You'll kind of see exactly kind of the ballpark on that as well. So one thing I want to show, and I don't want to go too quick. So you'll see at the very top, there was add an address. This is a newer feature since I did this training probably a year ago with you guys. This helps pull the tax information and the potential loan payoff of that property. So you'll notice if I start typing in a sample property, the $9.99 is through the app. So it would be whatever you have on your app, on your phone, whatever that's connected through. So if you have it tied to a credit card, that's what it's going to link it through. So it's all going to be linked on your app account on your cell phone when you download that. And if you do it through the website, you would just put in the credit card information. All right, so I'm going to grab the first one I see. See, it's going to tell me to do a sales price. I'll throw that in here in a second. So I put in the address, and it's going to pull what they feel the estimated taxes are. Now, again, it might be fine print for you guys. I'm going to click it, but it does show it's about $4,400 is what these estimated the taxes are on these properties. So if I want,
and this is where you got to be smart, because is it showing ad valorem taxes or non-ad valorem plus ad valorem? Are PACE loans included in that? Are CDD fees included in that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to know. So we can't rely on all these things automatically, because we'd have to know which way the app's doing it. Do you know which way the app does it here?
So they're pulling it just the tax piece of it. They're not going from the CD, you know, they're not taking it and adding in all those additional features that then would be added onto the closing at the tail end. So it's kind of like the nitty gritty. They're just jumping out to the clerk's site, grabbing that estimate that they have, and then they're pulling it right back in.
So there's an asterisk on this one.
Mm-hmm. And that's where it's one of those things. No. And it is one of those things that we want to try to, this app, when we try, and as we kind of continue to build this thing, we try to get it to the fee as close as possible, right? And you'll see as I go through it, you can add in as much information as possible to get it down to that closest decimal point. But you don't have to do that. Like, you can do it quick and easy. And look, we're going to give them the exact amount that they're going to have to pay at closing. So we know we're going to get them there. This is just something if you're working on a client. So just keep that in mind. So yes, there's definitely an asterisk. There's a place that also says this is an estimate only in fine print. That way they don't come back to you or me saying, hey, you told me this isn't accurate. So again, we try to work on that as well. It says it potentially pulled the payoff. So what it did is it found that there was a recorded mortgage back in 2019, and it was for $229,000. From there, it's going to say, do you know what the interest rate is? And then it's going to try to calculate the payoff. Okay. Now, again,
estimate.
This isn't on everyone. Yeah, an estimate, yes. And it's only if it can scrub the data fairly quick and grab whatever is a public record. So this isn't a norm. Like, this is an example that just happens to pull it, but just keep that in mind. It's going to pull the taxes in most cases. The payoff on the loan, let's say it's going to pull it maybe 30% of the time. So I just want to throw that out there. And I'm going to put in an interest rate of 3.5. Let's just say that's what it was. I'm going to hit compute. It's going to say your estimated loan balance is 220. I'm going to say, yeah, let's use this. And it's going to pop it into the system. Okay. So now you're going to see what I was kind of talking about. So if I wanted to add all of these additional fees before I hit compute, I could do that. Okay. The big thing right here, though, the only thing you need to be able to hit and create a net sheet is the sales price. I don't even have to put in that property address. So I'm only stating that because I don't want you to think, geez, this takes so long to do a net sheet. I promise you it doesn't. I could do a net sheet in a matter of 5 seconds and push it to my clients. It's just, it gives you all these different features so that if you want to add and get it as close as possible, you're able to. So on the sales price, I'm just going to hit, let's say it's $650. Okay. From here, oh, and I forgot the loan type. I could change that conventional all the way down to cash, go back up. I'm going to leave it at conventional for now. So from here, we have a broker's fee. Okay. Some of these fees, they're just going to be defaulted. So that has a default of 6%. Now, if I want to, let's say that in the competitive market that you guys are in at this point, let's say on this fee, the total amount of the broker's fee that you're going to be able to charge is, let's say it's $30,000. If I want to do that, I could click this little dollar sign and I could type in $30,000. And then what it's going to do is it's going to split that $30,000 amongst the two sides. Okay. But let me back up. So I just want to show you that's what that feature is showing. Let's just say it is 6%. But let's say that it's it's 2% to the buyer's agent and 4% to the listing agent. Okay. So in that case, I can hit this little gear sign. Okay. This little gear sign is always kind of my little options for any feature it's on. So I'm going to hit this. It's going to pull up another box. From here, it's going to show you the split. It's going to say right now it's defaulting to 3% and 3%. Well, let's say it's 2% and 4%. Okay. So from here, that's going to be my split that then shows on the fees. It could also show split in closing costs, or I could turn that off. I'm going to leave it on. So from here, I'm going to hit done. Now, this is an important view right here to just notice. Because I made kind of a change to the back end feature, it's going to ask me, do I want to use this for just this estimate only on that modification of the commission split, or for all future estimates? Now, if this is something that happens on all future estimates, go for it. If you want to just do it for this estimate only, perfect. Just know that no matter what you do, if you do it for all future ones, you can always go back and modify it. So remember, this is yours. You can change it in any way. You're not going to break it if you change it on your side. So I just want to let you know on that end.
God, there's a lot of if-thens in something as simple as a net sheet.
It's going to try to narrow down as far as you want to go. It's kind of like going down that rabbit hole. Like, how far do you really want to go? So then if you want to add in any repairs, you can do that here. You want to add in any type of miscellaneous fee, you can add that here as well. But I'm going to go back to this little gear sign, and let's say I want to know what this is. So this then kind of pops up and it says, okay, I'm going to add this to the closing costs for the seller. And let's say there's a transfer fee. Let's say there's a HOA transfer fee, whatever that may be. So we've kind of preloaded some in here for you, but if none of those work for you, you can always add your own. Okay. So just keep that in mind. I'm allowed to do that. I have the same thing when it comes to subtract from closing cost. So again, I could add something. Maybe there is
the buyer's paying
maybe there's something like, well, that's in another feature. I can show you that. But let's say there is a repair I forgot to put on the other side, and I'm going to put $500. So I could put that on there as well, and I could add a field. So keep in mind, there's all these different little features. That way you can add in those additional amounts and kind of keep the ball moving. Again, it's as far as you want to go down this, call it rabbit hole. So I'm going to close out of that. I'm not going to put that there, but that way you know there are those additional ways you can add fees. From here, you're going to notice it did add in my real estate taxes from the estimate above. So it does show the $449 or the $4,400. It also threw in my interest or my loan balance that I was able to calculate. It threw that interest rate that I added as well. Keep in mind too, let's say it never pulled the loan balance, just zero this out. It could, and that's the thing, is you could zero any of this out. Let's say you don't know the taxes, I'm going to zero it out. Loan balance, zero it out. So all those, you're allowed to do that. Don't feel like you have to have it to do that. And then from here, you have your closing date. You can either back this in, do whatever you need to do. I'm going to leave it on December 11th, month close. So let me hit this real quick. So reissue rate. So reissue rate applies if I'm selling my house within 3 years of me purchasing the home. So that, call it's a discount. So it's a discount for the current seller so that they have a discounted fee on the owner's policy that they're paying for the buyer. So if you ever wonder, hey, Chris or Tiffany or Sean or whomever, hey, does reissue apply? We're always going to ask that question, like, hey, do you happen to know when they bought it? And again, it's always 3 years. If they bought it less 3 years to the date or 3 years less, they could get reissue credit. And I just saw a question pop up. What about credit from seller to the buyer? So you could add that in the miscellaneous if you wanted to, but there's also a place you can add that in the buyer's estimate as well, depending on what the form you're going to kind of create it for.
Well, if the seller's going to pay the buyer's $5,000 of the buyer's closing costs, you put it in buyer's closing costs. There's miscellaneous here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because I could pop that back in here. And then I could do a credit to the seller. So I could subtract it from the closing cost and kind of say, buy, and I could title it anything, you know, buyer paying, you know, whatever that may be, title portion, 5,000. And it would subtract it from there. So that can kind of work as your credit on both sides, one or the other. So Mike, let me know if that doesn't help, and we could always jump offline too. So, so on reissue credit, I always like to at least cover that briefly. It is a question we get, but just remember it's 3 years or less. If I click on this, it's going to ask me what is the original policy, what did they originally buy it for? Because they need that to be able to calculate some of it. So I just want to let you know that's what it's asking for. But if you ever have any questions, we can always help add that in. And
How
that's
big of a
discount.
discount? How big of a discount is a reissue credit? It's not much, right? A couple $100.
It's not much, funny enough. So you guys want to know how long I've been in title for 25 plus years. I don't know if you noticed. This is my old book that was issued back in '92. And I have this occasionally. But instead of the usual $5, give or take, per thousand, it actually, or 100,000, it drops down to $3.30 on a lot of them. So it drops, a decent amount. So it goes, and once you're over $1 million, it drops to $2 per, so it does do a decent amount. Like if you were to say, if there's a policy amount on, I'll give you a quick example. So policy amount on $450,000, the total premium is $2,300. Okay, that's just a rough estimate. Okay, the reissue rate, okay, that then I would end up charging on that would be, let's see here, $1,380.
$1,000.
So it's a reissue credit of $945. Yep. So it could be, and that was on a $450,000 deal. But
Which is
again,
like
3 years or less,
45%.
decent credit.
Yep.
So it makes a difference. So that's where it's always kind of that fine line. And if it ever is right around that timeline of 3 years, and you don't know if it qualifies or not, just let us know. We can always walk through that. All right, so I'm going to hit compute. So after doing all the fees, if I wanted to, this is where I would get to, okay? So from here, this little circle is what's going to pull up on your cell phone. One cool feature I do want to let you know. So let's say you're sitting in front of your potential client, right? And you're trying to secure this deal, but they're telling you, hey, based off all the information you added in, I need to net more than $382,000. This is my retirement. I need to cash out. I need $425,000. Okay. So again, imagine if you're sitting in front of the client. From here, if I were to hit this little edit button, okay,
That's slick.
I can back out and I could put, okay, so if I'm sitting with the seller, okay, you need $425,000. Oh, not 4.2. That'd be a big number. All right, so 425. I'm going to hit done. It's going to recalculate it for me so that then it tells me the only thing that it can change is the sales price. So it's going to jump my sales price all the way up to $696,000. And I don't know if you guys remember, originally my sales price was $650,000. So obviously it just jumped it up that percentage so that then I could get to the $425,000. So just a fun little feature. That way, if you're ever in that discussion with the client, you could say, great, let's just look at it fairly quick and let's see what we need to pull on this.
That would be fun on a listing presentation.
On that. Yeah, you can. Well, in addition to that, so you'll see this little cell phone view down here. Okay, what that view is, because I'm on my desktop view, I can't turn it sideways. But if I'm looking at my app, okay, let's say I'm looking at my cell phone like this, and I'm on this view. Okay, it's got the circle view on my phone. If I turn my phone to the side, it would then pop up with a new feature, which is going to be this. Okay, so again, that's what that image, that's that image. Cell phone like this, turning it to the side, that's when it's popping up. And with that being said, so it goes from 600, so this tells me how much will I net at close if it goes from anywhere from 670 all the way down to 630, and then what does that net my client? But I can go a step further and I could say, okay, I'm going to hit the little gear sign, that's our little friend. I'm going to change it in increments of $25,000. Okay, and I'm going to show it both in increasing and decreasing. Then if I hit update, now it's going to change it again. What will I net at 700,000 all the way down to 600,000? From here, then I could email this to or text it if I'm standing in front of the client. I could send this directly to my clients, and then that way they could say, and maybe you just had a discussion, they want to see the numbers real quick, and boom, you could pop this out to them. Okay. So keep in mind too, my information's on this flyer. You'll see it on the other ones as well because it's my account. So just keep that in mind. But you'll notice it's another way that then you could push it out to them so that they could see it and then, you know, kind of think it over as they're going through it. So just like you said, Craig, definitely a fun way to, you know, if you are sitting in front of them, kind of a listen presentation. So I'm going to just close out of this. And then I'm just going to go back to the original screen here. Now, one other thing before we print this and go, and then we're pretty much done with this one. If I wanted to see the detailed closing costs. So this is where kind of the closing fees show up. So kind of like Craig was saying. So these are the fees for Paramount Title. Okay, so here's the owner's title policy. Here's the closing fees, $395, search fee, lien search. And here's some of the state fees, so forth and so on. You'll notice all at the bottom is the broker's fee. So it does show the difference. Oh, sorry, I'm flipping it, but shows the difference from the buyers at 2% to the listing at 4%. So it does break that down here. But let's say I need to modify something. Let's say I forgot to add in my transaction coordinator fee. I could hit edit, and that's where some of these fees are. Now, one thing I do want to show you is at the very top where it says owner's title policy fee. Let's say that in the negotiations, the buyer's going to pay for it. I can hit this little toggle here, and I could flip it to the buyer, or I can split it depending on what the agreement was. So I just want to show you that is a feature there. And then if I were to scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a little green plus sign. Okay. At this point, let's say I do, let's say I always have a transaction, TC. I'm going to just put TC and put $300. Okay. So I added that fee in right here. So again, this is going to charge it to the seller. So it's similar to where we had that miscellaneous, but this is going to take it from the seller as opposed to giving me an option to credit that. Okay. So one thing I want to show you is if I hit done, it's going to show me that same kind of pop-up that I had with the broker's fee. So for this estimate only or for all future estimates. So this is the one piece that I say is if you ever have a TC fee, and if you need to always charge it, you never want to forget a specific fee, throw it in this section and then hit for all future estimates because you won't forget. But again, that's why I always recommend it here versus on the miscellaneous, especially if it's something that is always charged and it's always the same amount. From here, I'm just going to hit for this estimate only. Then it's going to bring me back to the screen. I'm going to close out of this. It pops me back down. Obviously, I threw it back down to 650 as well. You'll notice that. And now I'm ready to just share this, okay? So you'll see you're going to have templates. Even if you have the free version, you're going to have different templates. On the cell phone view, you'd swipe left or right. You're going to see the different templates. On the desktop view, you can see I can scroll down here, and it's going to give me kind of the different templates that I have access to, okay? So from here, you'll notice it's kind of a nice little format. It breaks down all these fees. And this little fine print that I can't even read, it does say, is this an estimate or only, or is this, it states that this is an estimate only, so kind of our protection. Also, the signature blocks are for you if you need the client to sign it. We don't need the client to sign it and send it back to us. This is for you guys. So again, I know a lot of agents, they like to get the client to sign off on it, and then you store it in your system. This is where you can do that. Again, that's why there's signature blocks on here. And I'm just going through the questions. So the app is actually I'm going to just type it in. So if you look up FANAgent 1, that's what you're going to find on the App Store. And then let's read this. So cell phone app is fine, but how can it be used on my laptop? You said not to download. Correct. So don't download it on the Windows. So again, the website, I'm just going to type it in for anybody just in case. That's the website. I just typed it in. And let me just go to a new. I'll just show you a new. So I just literally went to my Google Chrome. I have this. As you can see, it's right here. I have it as one of my favorites. All I did was click it. Mm-hmm. From here, I always recommend don't download it because then it doesn't take all the updates. So up in the right-hand corner, this is where you'll
create a free account. Create a free account and then you can log in.
Yeah, and sorry, Craig. thank you for jumping on that as well. So if you don't have an account, create a free account. You can do that right on the website. Keep in mind too, if you created one already on one or the other, if you created on the website or you created it on the app version, it's the same. You're using the same username and password for both accounts. It's tying it to your email address. Okay, so use the same email address. Even if you have multiple email addresses, use the same one, because that's how it's going to tie both of your accounts together. So regardless if you're on the app version or on the desktop view, you're going to use that. So use the same email. So yeah, so create a free account or log in. So
the website gets updates automatically. Whereas like downloaded for Windows, it's a static download. So it's going to be the version you download is the version you got. So it'll miss the updates. So they really should remove that button.
I'm with you. And that's why I always do that speech in the very beginning, anytime I do a training. But trust me, I've tried to get them to remove it. So one day I'll get lucky enough to do it. So, but hopefully that helps Mike. So, so again, just on the template, you'll see all the information there. You'll have different templates you can choose from, and then you can push it out. A couple of things I do want to hit on this right here is there are a few items here. So let's say I'm on this net sheet and I want to change the color of this. Okay, these colors, it's not on all of the views, but let's say I want to change it to red. It's only going to change the red sections that are available on this template. And again, it's not on all templates. One of the cool features too is you can change the language, okay? So it's going to default it to English, but it's got 12 different languages it can convert it to. So just in case if you're ever working with a client, maybe they want to send it to a parent that maybe doesn't speak English, you can send it in different formats. So you do have that ability as well to change the language. And then from here, the big thing is then I could either email it, I can download it, I can print it, save it. If I'm on my cell phone view, I can text it, which is kind of a cool little feature, and go from there. Another little call it my little warnings, right? Never email it directly to the client from this database, okay? It comes from a system called FANAgent, and it's going to look like spam. So if you send it to the buyer or the seller, they're going to get an email from FANAgent, and they're going to wonder, what the heck is this? So email it to yourself, and then take that and send it to your client. Plus, it's another way that you can stay in front of your client. So that's please, if I could stress that, that's as important as not downloading that to your Windows. This is another one. Don't email it to the client directly out of the system. Email it to yourself and push it on. Because I'm telling you, I've heard scenarios to where they email it and then the client's like, oh, I never got it. You promised it to me. Now I'm going to use another agent.
Or they replied to you.
Situation, so.
Or they replied to FANAgent and you didn't get it. I could see a bunch of messes with that. So send it to yourself and then forward it on. Very good point.
So one other thing on here, and then I'll just show you one feature on the buyers, and we'll see if there's any questions. So on the save a feature, so if I wanted to save this for future, let's say I'm going to go back to this and work on it later. There's this little save estimate folder down here. There's also an estimate folder at the top. But if I hit save estimate, it's going to ask me, what do you want to call this? Okay. So I could back out. I could say, this is let's say LeChance test. I think I already have a few in there for that, but test 2. And then I could save it to a specific folder if I wanted to. I do a lot of trainings, as you can tell. So then I could throw it into a specific folder, or I can create a new folder. So let's say I'm going to create a new folder. And then I can create it from there, and then I could save it in that folder. Okay. So that way, if I ever wanted to go back in, I could jump to my estimate folder here. It's going to save a handful of my most recent estimates as well, even if I don't create a folder. But you'll notice if I'm always like, okay, I need to go back in and modify that net sheet for LeChance, I could jump back into C21, jump into LeChance. It's going to take me back to the original calculations that I already calculated, and then I can modify it from here and push it out fairly quickly. So again, it just makes it to where if you guys ever do need to go back in and modify anything, especially multiple times for a specific client, you have that feature through the estimate folder. Okay. All right. So on the buyers, I'm just going to show that, again, the setup is identical. It all looks similar. I'm going to just put in the address because there is one feature I want you to see. I think this was the address that hold. So all the features that are the identical, load in, done. I pulled that in. Okay. I'm going to do my home price is $650, loan type, down payment. I could change this to either 10%, or I could put a dollar sign and put, maybe they're going to put 10,000 down. That's just an estimate on the interest rate. They do try to keep up with that as well. Again, I could change all this. They default the hazard insurance to 1.5. You can always modify that. There is an HOA. You can add that as well. And then the closing date is today. That might be pretty quick for us. So I'm going to push it out. And then from here, I'm going to hit compute. So it might be, I'm going to have to see why it's doing that. Type in that, just recalculate that.
Well, it's a $600,000 house, so it's going to be more than $4,000 a year in tax. So we might have to calculate.
And it's just what it's going to, and it's going to try to give the best estimate. So they're not going to go, what they're trying not to do is pull if somebody has homestead. So they're trying to just estimate it based off, if I buy a new house, my taxes are going to go up in a year and a half. So how do we get that amount as close as possible? One thing you'll notice on here is the monthly payment and the bring to close. You'll notice I have these two little circles again. I also have these little edit buttons, right? And this is the same feature as if I needed to net to close a certain amount. Same thing with this client on the buyer side. So again, if I were to back out, let's say my client can't afford $3,900, I can back that out. Now, again, that's probably more question for a lender or for them to help them with, but that feature is here. But same thing with bring the close. Let's say they're like, oh, wait, I can't bring, $85,000 in. I don't have $85,000. I could still back that out. Now, again, there's only a few things that could change if I back it out. One of those big things is what my monthly payment's going to be. So as soon as I do that, it's going to jump my monthly payment, and it's going to adjust it based off of that. But again, just trying to give those added little features on that. And I know the lender would be helping with a lot of these inputs as well. So same thing with the detailed closing costs. If I click that, I'm going to get the exact same pull down as the seller net sheet. If I wanted to edit this, I could then go into that. A lot of the insurance companies, they're requiring 14 months, or lenders, I should say. But again, I can modify these. I can back this out, depending on if I know that client. Origination fee, they throw it at 1% just to have something on there. You can increase that if you want. So again, a lot of the fees are just defaulted just to try to give some type of estimate to the buyer, especially if they haven't even started to look and you're their first contact. So that's why all those fees are in there. From here, if I wanted to, let's see here.
That shouldn't matter at all.
Are you referring? It shouldn't matter, and obviously, if it's going to go through some type of FERPTA, depending on how that's going to look, or if we're going through a specific program, we'd have to add that in on the back end. But yeah, kind of like Craig said, if they're bringing cash to the table, as long as it's U.S. currency, we are good. So.
And guys, Chris, when you sent the app out and the website app, you just sent it to host and panelists. So I just reposted it to everyone. So guys, if you missed that, see FANAgent 1 is the name of the app in the App Store. And the website is fanagentapp.com, not Paramount. You can get to it from ParamountTitleFL.com, but that's the website directly. So copy those down before we end.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll put my information in there as well, just in case if you have any issues. Let's say you're going to mess with it today. I'll definitely put my. Actually, I'll do that now. But that way, if you have any questions at all, by all means, reach out to me, reach out to Tiffany, and we could definitely help you with all of that. So I just put in my contact information. So feel free to reach out, ask any questions you may have, and we'll get the ball moving on that. All right, just put it in. Thanks, Craig, for catching. I only put it to the host, so
I do it all the time.
All right, so so you'll see again, very same setup as the seller estimate. I have the different templates here. If I do have the premium feature, there is one cool template I do want to show you. I think it's this one. It's going to show me the depth, the distance. So I don't know if you can see this, but because I put in an address, that's why I did it on this one. It's going to show me how close is the hospital, how close is the closest Starbucks, how close is the closest gym. cleaner. So again, it's a fun way that you can market yourself and the specific area. And again, if I wanted to modify that, if I hit edit property, it's
What a
gonna
great
show me the
brochure for
30-minute
marketing
format I'm on.
a for sale house, to market it that way, saying, look, this is what your payment's going to be. This with this much down, this is what your payment's going to be, and you're 3 miles from the Starbucks. And like, don't screw with it.
And I never
This is
even
what the
thought
house
of that.
costs.
Yeah, I love that. And you'll see when I hit the edit, I have all these kind of defaulted in here. Let's say they don't like coffee. Maybe they want to be close to the park and a dog park. So I can select different ones, but I can only select up to 6. And then it's going to pull it based off of that. So again, if I were to hit done, it's going to recalculate it and it's going to throw that on there as well. So again, just another way to market, another fun way to stay in front of your clients. And like Craig said, especially if you're working with a specific property, kind of to be able to promote that even at the, open house. So that is on that. And again, same features. If I want to change something, if I want to email it, download, I could save this and go from there. So the last thing I'll show, and then I'm going to be quiet and see if there's any additional questions. I just jumped to calculators. Multiple offers is one that kind of has been a big big item on here that a lot of people are hitting on. So I'm just going to type in real quick. Again, I just clicked on it and it's going to tell me exactly what I need to type in. And again, I'm just going off of what I can see here. I'm going to just hit next. But on the offer, so this would be my offer one. Let's say it's a loan type, conventional. Maybe they're going to offer 600,000, EMD of 5,000, and yeah, we're going to keep the rest the same. We're going to add that offer. Let's say I'm going to add another offer. Okay, I can add up to 6 on one document. But let's say I want to add another one, and I'm going to just do 2 just as an example. Let's say I star this one. I hit that little star. Let's say this is the cash. Let's say it's 595. Positive 10,000. But the close is going to be a lot faster. An add offer. Okay. Now let's say I want to, and again, I could add more, but for time purposes, I'm going to just kind of go through there. Now, if I want to share and print this, it's going to show me the document it creates. Okay. And that star that I highlighted is just kind of that way when you send it to the client, you're kind of giving your recommendation, but then they can choose. But again, you can notice on here, it's going to compare it. It's going to show me offer 1, what am I going to net? And offer 2, what am I going to net? Now, again, you start offer 2, maybe you did it because it's a cash deal and it's quick close versus you don't want to deal with a lender. Okay. So you can add this, you could have 6 on here, but it's just another fun tool you can use to kind of promote this. And especially if you're still getting multiple offers, you can be able to utilize that. So again, it's just one of those flyers a lot of people are kind of asking about, and you'll see if I scroll down, it actually created a quick net sheet on that as well. So they can kind of see what the total costs are and kind of the breakdown. As I scroll down, it did do both of them. So on that, and then from here, I can email them out. So, but any questions, anybody will need me to go through anything else? I know we're just by a few minutes, but is there anything you guys want me to kind of go through again? And again, I put my information up there. That's my email and my cell phone number. Even after the call, if you want to kind of talk through it, maybe you're getting an error. Maybe you can't download it. By all means, call me, text me. We'll walk through it. We'll set up another special time and we'll go through it. So,
Chris, I got to tell you, that is super slick.
Yeah, I love it. I do all the training for it, and I just love the feature and the way that you can market yourself. I mean, and especially through social media, you can pop up so many items. I mean, it kind of does that job for you. So at 99 cents per month, it helps to where you can continue to stay in front of your clients. So no, I think it's a great product. And again, it's another benefit of being part of the Florida Agency Network. And I love that, Paramount Title is able to handle that. So
very good.
So awesome. One last thing I'll say, and then I'm gonna let Craig take it back over. On the you'll notice that when I first registered for the app, I had to pick a state of Florida. That's the only state we're in at this point. I had to pick a county and I had to pick a title brand. So just be sure, always pick Paramount Title. But on the counties, don't overthink this, okay? The big thing is the fees are going to be associated with Paramount Title. Now, if it's a specific county that it has the fees reversed and the buyer pays for the owner's policy, which we have a few of those, and I know you guys are part of a few of those, that's where that comes into play. But worst case, if you always just put Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, and as long as Paramount Title is your brand, you're going to be in good shape. But you have the ability to modify that at any given time, but I usually don't. I usually just leave it defaulted. So just wanted to bring that up. And I did see somebody raise their hand, Craig. Was that a question, I think?
Brian raised his hand, but he didn't ask a question.
Okay.
Brian, you can type in a chat, or I can give you the microphone, whatever you want. Or he was just saying hi. Once again, the county doesn't matter.
Yeah, counties don't matter, but we do have, you'll notice we've populated quite a few of the counties in here, and especially with Craig's help, occasionally, he'll want us to add a few more, but a lot of times the fees are all staying the same because it's all associated back to Paramount Title. But if there's ever a county in there that you need on there, maybe it is that reverse model where the buyer pays, let us know. If we're missing it and we need to make sure that's added, we can definitely work on that. So
I think just Manatee and Sarasota are the ones we deal with reverse. Buyer usually picks and pays. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you very much.
Should be on there. They are. So.
Because you guys get bankers holidays, you don't have to work on Veterans Day, but thank you for giving up your time today. We're real estate agents.
My pleasure.
We work every day, so we're on. And I am impressed. We had over 40 people online here, so not bad for a Veterans Day holiday to learn about a title company app.
I love it. Hey, I love it. And that's the thing. We'll do these trainings all day long, Craig. You know that. If you guys kind of get, if you get the benefit from it, we want to do whatever we can to help and share the knowledge. So
cool.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Do I need to turn it back to you, or
nope? I'll just end the meeting.
Training today.
We're good. We're over time. So anyway, everybody, thank a veteran today for all their hard work and busting their ass for our country and keeping us safe so we can live the life of our dreams. So with that being said, I'll see. Oh, tomorrow, Jim and I will be training personality profiles, and you will absolutely get a laugh or two from that process, because Dad and I we're very similar, but we're very different. I'm a CD, he's a DC, and the differences are something. Let's just go with that way. So it'll be fun banter back and forth. So tune in tomorrow and we'll end the week strong. All right, Chris, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And again, happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vet.